two. Take two.
Welcome to episode 77 of Eat, Drink,
Mm,
Write, and Urban Fantasy Whiteboard. We're having a few technical difficulties, but I think we're on track now. This week, we're going to talk about plot twists, which are
yeah.
exciting. Yeah. But before we get into that, how was your week?
Well, everything is fighting me. My camera decided to stop working in the middle of podcasting, and thankfully we were not too far in yet. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's pretty par for the course for how the week has been, I think. Everything is busy. I have not had a chance to like sit down and do anything. I didn't get to finish all the stuff I needed to do today, and it's just, it's one of those weeks. So I am very glad to be just chatting about writing now. That's way better than busy work.
Yeah, definitely. It's a long week this week. For me, it's court week this week.
Oh
So
yeah.
we're recording this on Monday. This comes out tonight at midnight. So
Yep.
we've been super busy. So we haven't been able to record, and we're doing this last minute, which seems to have been that seems to be what we're doing lately.
That's a trend. Yeah, it's been a
It
trend.
is. It's a trend. So I'm really tired. Court sucks. Plus, I had a hangover this morning, which made it extra sucky.
Ooh,
Father's Day yesterday, we celebrated Father's Day, and we
you
played
celebrated pretty
games.
hard.
We did. It was fun. We played games. I think your dad liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So he's wearing his new T-shirt that the cat got him. Which y'all, it's a T-shirt with the outline of a cat, and it's kind of looking over its shoulder at you, and it says, "Just the cat's human servant."
Yep.
It's very cute, and he's wearing it today, so I guess he liked it. But yeah,
Cute.
that was fun. But yeah, I've been spending most of my time trying to get ready for this week's court, and now I'm in this week's court, so I hadn't even thought about writing. It's not been on my list of things to do.
Yeah, I hear ya.
What are you eating and drinking?
So I'm not eating anything yet, but I have plans to order some Mediterranean food.
Hmm.
So I'm really excited about that. And then I'm drinking an iced tea latte. So I made some sweet tea, and poured it over ice and stuck some milk in it, and
Nice.
boom, iced tea latte.
I'm drinking a grapefruit bubbly. No alcohol for me today. I
Oh,
can't. I'm too old to do like drinking like this and then having to go to court in the morning is just not for me.
hair of the dog, mom. Hair of the
Not today.
dog.
But I do have some jokes.
Oh, hit me with them.
Okay, so I only have two, and they're about twists.
Okay.
So, how many how many mystery novel writers does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
Two. One to screw it almost all the way in, and another one to give it a surprising twist at the end.
Nice.
Charles Dickens had writer's block. He had a contract due for a new novel, but he couldn't think of a title. He went into the local pub and asked the barman for a martini. Olive or twist? Oliver Twist.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
They both had book connotations as well, so I thought that was pretty good.
Nice.
So, what is a plot twist? Well, most stories, if you think about it, are not just linear. It would be really boring to go from point A to point B with nothing in between. That's what makes the story. So it's a twist. A plot twist is a surprise development in your story. A good plot twist forces the reader to think about it, and even when they're away from the story. So years later, a reader will I am really having trouble, may still reminisce about a plot twist that threw them for a loop. And
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
Yeah.
It is a sudden, drastic, and unexpected change in the direction of the story. I think that was probably the best definition that I came across.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty on point. I feel like plot twists are relatively self-explanatory in terms of like what they are, but I like giving a a definition to things. Mom, you're having some technical difficulties.
What the hell?
Also, I'm gonna have you check your mic, what mic you're on. So microphone, 3 USB audio device, click it.
Microphone.
Okay, is that better?
Way better.
Yeah. Sorry, you guys.
No, it's
I'm
good. It's good.
challenged today.
Listen, we're having a good old struggle. If any of y'all are also having struggles, we're here with you. We
Yep.
got you.
I actually briefly considered just posting something saying it ain't happening this week.
It's been rough. It's been rough.
But
I
we're
think
here
us.
for you guys. We're persevering, we're pushing through.
We are. But yeah, so I think all of those are really good definitions of plot twists. And I like giving definitions, whether it's fairly obvious. My cat is saying hello here.
Oh, he's so cute.
He's very needy because I've been gone for 3 days. So I just got home and now he wants attention. So he's going to try to step on everything. But on top of definitions, I found something that had, like different types of plot twists. And they're just some common ones. They're not limited to these types by any means. There's a ton of plot twists that you can come up with, but these are just a few of the common ones. So a supposed friend of the main character turns out to be an antagonist. That's a big one.
Yeah, I love that one.
I do too, because it's a good, like, oh my God, like I didn't know, how could they do that to their friend, or how could they have been evil the whole time?
Think about, I don't know if you ever watched this, the Better Call Saul, which is a spinoff of Breaking Bad.
Right.
And in it, you think all along that his brother is fighting for him, and it turns out his brother was the bad guy and it was a total shocker.
Absolute twist.
Yeah. Very nicely done.
Sweet. I'll have to watch that one. I haven't even watched Breaking Bad though, so I need to do both of those.
They're good.
Another one is that an important piece of the story turns out to be a red herring. So the misdirection thing. And that's always a big one, is you think that there's this holy grail, and then it turns out it's like, oh, that's a piece of junk or something like that.
Yeah.
Another one is when the main conflict appears to be resolved, but an unforeseen turn of events introduces another one that everyone has to overcome.
Yeah.
So that's just like you get slapped in the face with a new plot point kind of thing.
Yeah, I love those too, because you're thinking, oh, they're going to do it. They've made it. Oh, no.
Yeah, one of the really good ones that I saw, and it was a video game, so not a book or anything like that, or a movie, but it was The Last of Us Part 2. Had a really great plot twist where it's like, oh, we thought the story was over, and it turns out it was not. So it was very good.
Interesting.
A new piece of information reveals that the story has an unreliable narrator. And I know you talk about this in a little bit, so I won't go into too much detail there, but I think that could be a really cool plot twist.
Yeah, I've got some examples of some of those.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Which also, well, we can talk about it later. A flashback or cutaway reveals information that the audience has, but the story's characters do not. So we get to know something that is imperative to the story, but the characters know nothing about it.
I like that too. Horror movies use that a lot.
They do that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one that I have is a new character appears from out of nowhere to upend the existing narrative. And I think this one you would have to be careful with, because I think we've talked a little bit before about introducing characters too late to the story. So it would depend on where you put it.
And how you do it. I think you can do anything as long as you do it well and right. So you just got to really think hard. You can't just do it. You got to really think and plan and strategize if you're going to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've got some tips for writing plot twists.
Sweet.
Don't overuse plot twists in the same book. Too much of a good thing type thing. You can't have them be shocked every chapter. Yeah,
it just sounds exhausting.
Yeah. And there's no set placeholder for where the plot twist has to happen. It can happen anywhere in your book. Obviously, it's harder to do in the beginning, especially when you haven't even established what the norm is in your world.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like twists at the beginning are like a really good way to potentially spark interest in your story. Like, okay, here's a vampire book. I'm going to read this vampire book. And then it turns out that there's a change up on how these vampires work. Like, they're not the normal cliche.
That's true. That's true. But, by the same token, in fantasy and urban fantasy, you've got to set up for the reader what's the norm before you can twist it up.
Right. But the good thing about urban fantasy is, everybody has this idea already of what vampires are. Oh, they
Yeah.
drink blood. They can't
Yeah.
come out in the sun. They can't. So there's already a norm somewhat set up. So you're given a vampire,
True.
and then a plot point happens that shows you, oh, these vampires are different.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think that could work.
probably more in fantasy novels that you would have this problem because, like you said, urban fantasy's here, and our connotations of what all those
True.
monsters are is
True.
helpful. You don't have to worry about that as much. But
Right.
a true fantasy world where nothing, you can't. It's not
It would be
shocking to them
difficult.
because they don't know what it was supposed to be to begin with.
Right.
But of course, the really effective ones do come at the end, but they don't have to.
Yeah.
And just like when we talked about our episode on mysteries, which is very kind of similar to plot twists, because mysteries it's a whodunit, and you don't know something and it gets revealed and you're like, aha. That's kind of how plot twists are as well. So just like with mysteries, you don't want to be obvious.
Right.
Don't forget that our readers are smart people. You don't have to, club them over the head with what you're trying to get across.
Definitely. At some point, they're going to start to feel like, oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, on that, sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
I think using your writer's journal here would be really good. You could come up with a lot of ideas for how your main character would succeed in their goals in your story. Like, how are they going to get to the end of your plot? And then discard all of those. Don't use any of them, and then come up with even more.
Yeah.
And so the idea there is you want it to feel impossible yet plausible.
Yeah, definitely. Plot twists there, because of that, plot twists can reveal character development. It is a great way to
Yeah.
have your character arc grow. They obviously help move the plot because
which helps keeps your reader engaged.
Yeah. They can introduce new conflicts.
Right. And that's the great way to keep the story moving.
Yeah. I mean, they're actually, a plot twist can be a rock itself, which we always talk about throwing rocks at our characters. This
Right.
twist that, it's an unexpected person or whatever it is going to move the story in a different direction.
Yeah.
And be a potential rock for our character to have to overcome.
Yeah.
They can make prior actions that we all assume something about, kind of like the red herring, have different meanings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's awesome. It's fun to think back on the story that you've just read and hit this plot twist and then realize that things were not as they seemed.
Yeah. And I took this example. It's so good. It gets across the point that I just copied the entire thing. It's from artofnarrative.com.
Nice. Okay.
So the example is, let's say a stranger goes out of their way to return your lost wallet or purse. You left it on the bus and you thought you'd never see it again. This Good Samaritan got the address from your license and delivered you your lost property personally. At this time, you would think that pretty highly of this person. They brought me back my purse. They didn't steal my money. But let's say a week later, you get a call from the police. It turns out your Good Samaritan didn't find your property, but they stole it. What's more, they've been stalking you for months and wanted to find out where you lived.
Oh, geez.
This new information recontextualizes what was once a positive event. My screen is doing that flicky thing again.
It sure is.
Now you know that the stranger's true motives. Now that you know the stranger's true motives, you're not going to like them at all. Your thoughts and feelings transform 180 degrees. Now you're afraid of them. Before you thought they were a hero.
Right.
That is how twist in fiction works. And
Absolutely.
I thought that was really well said. So I just took the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. It reminds me of that the Netflix show You, the stalker thing.
Love that show.
Because we as the audience have the information, like he is a stalker, and we know that he's a stalker, but she doesn't know that, and he comes off as this charming guy and worms his way into her life by taking her stuff and realizing where she lives and yada 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 and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's a really great example. That's really good.
Did you see both seasons that are out so far?
No, I haven't watched season 2. I watched
Ta-da.
season 1 while I was sick one day, so I binged the whole thing.
I watched it all in one sitting too. That is
Yeah.
one you just can't get up from. And I watched season 2 all in one sitting. And now season 3 is supposed to be coming out, I think maybe this month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I could be wrong, but it's coming out soon.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So how do you write a plot twist?
Right.
Well, first of all, you make it plausible, just like you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have events that lead up to the twist. You can't just do this twist out of the blue. It's like lying to
Right.
your reader. It's, it's too easy.
Right.
So there should be hints or foreshadowing leading up to whatever this twisty event is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, you don't have to, like you said earlier, you don't have to hit your reader over the head with it. Your
Mhm.
readers are smart. So you
Mhm.
can keep it subtle, but still drop those clues for your reader to find, because they'll enjoy realizing later that they should have seen it coming all along. I think
Right.
that's one of the best things. It's like, oh, because he did that and he did that and he did that because of this. And
Yeah.
so, I
Yeah.
think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Yes. So the reader needs to be able to identify the cause that led to that twist.
Mm-hmm.
Character choices should drive the twist. It's often the actions of the characters that lead to the twist.
Absolutely. And I think this is probably the most important, because character actions should drive the plot in general.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're going to have a very passive read. And a lot of the time, that's not very engaging for your readers.
Mhm.
So if your characters drive the plot, then they should drive the twist, whether that's them discovering who the real bad guy is or them choosing to take an action that changes the game. And they are the plot twist.
Yeah. Yeah. And use red herrings like we had talked about before to keep your plot twist hidden until the time is right. Have we done an episode on red herrings?
I don't know that we have. I was thinking about that as I was researching this today too. I think it'd be a good one to do.
I think so. It might have to be a mini, although some of these topics that we think are going to be a mini end up being an hour long. So
yeah, they do. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
red herrings I think would be a good one.
I think that'd be a great one, especially I feel like we probably talked about it a little bit when we talked about writing mysteries, because red herring is such a big part of mystery.
Mhm.
But I'm sure we could go into, how to write a red herring, like what should you focus on and that kind of thing. So,
Mhm.
because you definitely want to redirect that suspicion, ask yourself what your readers are expecting and then twist your story away from that to kind of give them a surprise and to keep them
Mhm.
guessing and on their toes.
Mhm. That's true.
Also, I have a few things that I was like, that I found as I was doing some research.
Okay.
One that I saw, which I thought was really cool, was adopt a no one is safe type of mood for your story. So like anyone could be blindsided, anyone could be killed off.
Oh, like Game of Thrones where everybody
Yeah.
died. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, just imagine, Ned Stark at the very end of the first season,
Yes. We
well,
thought
and then,
he was the protagonist.
yeah, and then he gets killed off.
Yeah.
Well, and then even from the very beginning of the first season, when Bran gets pushed out a window, he's just a kid and they push him out a window. So no one is safe, literally.
Yeah. Oh, I had never thought of that. That's true.
Yeah. Bury clues in emotion and action so it isn't immediately easy for your reader to pick up on them. And this is what I was talking about with like being subtle with it. Like you don't have to be very blatant, but in the middle of a chase scene, you could toss in a bit of dialogue that, normally your readers would go, wait, why did he just say that? But you're in the middle of a chase scene and this character is about to die. Maybe they're not paying that much attention.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Don't try to trick your reader, don't use the dream sequence type of plot twist where the whole story ended up being a dream. That's just, first of all, it's cliche. Second of all, it's, it's cheesy and your reader wants to be emotionally invested and you don't want to make them feel cheated.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Think about how you want your readers to respond to the twist. So with a no way, like I can't believe that happened, or like a nice, like that was cool, or like oh yeah, like I could see how that would happen, or like why this was a thing. So think about how you want your reader to react to your story and then write towards that reaction.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great tip. Yeah.
I think so too. As I was reading it, I was like, that's really interesting because I think about as I'm writing, obviously I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I'm glad that I'm writing it this way. It's really fun. But you also have to think about what's going to be fun for your reader.
True.
Not just for what's fun for the writer.
Very, very true.
Yeah. And then my last one that I have here is keep up the pace after you reveal the twist. Don't slow your story down once you have your plot twist revealed. keep that momentum going, because otherwise your reader's going to be like, oh, okay, like I just fell off a cliff. Like, why do I care now? Kind of thing. So,
Yeah. Going back to the unreliable narrator,
mhm.
I think that is one of the best ways to write a plot twist.
Absolutely.
The reason I say that is because some of the best movies, I usually think of these in terms of movies that I've seen. Being writers, a lot of times we aren't surprised because we as writers, we know what's going to happen.
Right.
But when you have an unreliable narrator, we all assume certain things because of the way the narrator is talking.
Right.
So think about The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
That is one of the best movies I have ever seen. I didn't figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It is a good one.
Fight Club,
Another really good one.
another really brilliant one. And it was all from an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
In The Sixth Sense, the dead guy was the unreliable narrator and he didn't know he was dead.
Right.
And in Fight Club, he was both the antagonist and the protagonist, but we're hearing it from the protagonist's point of view. I mean, brilliantly done.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it is one of those that at the end left me. And another one with an unreliable narrator, and I just now thought of this one, was the movie The Others,
Oh yeah.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Also one I did not see coming.
Yeah. No, that's a great one. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Me either. And it's such a joy as a writer to watch or read something that surprises us,
Yeah, absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
unfortunately we sometimes get pulled out of the story because of certain parts of the book that, oh, I would have written it this way. We can't help ourselves
Right.
as writers. And so we get gypped a lot of times from what normal people get to enjoy on these plot twists. So I love these ones that I don't get, that I don't. And at the end, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my God. Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. It drives Sydney nuts sometimes, or maybe it just amuses her. I'm not sure which, but she had already played this video game. And so I was playing it and she was watching me play it. And this character said something and I was like, oh, well, that character is going to die. And Sid, who had already played this game, was like, how did you know that? She's like, what? And I was like, because she said this. And she was like,
Mhm.
what is it? But why does that mean she's going to die? And she did.
Mhm.
The character did die. So, and she was like, okay.
As writers, it's a kind of a curse,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we all like to read and enjoy things too. And so,
Yeah.
it is a nice treat to read a writer who can surprise us.
Absolutely.
You can also use the unreliable narrator for secondary characters. Think of Snape in Harry Potter. All along, we all hated him. We all thought he was a jerk. And, it turns out
He's
he
still
was
kind of a jerk.
he was a jerk, but he was redeemed by what we find out later on.
He was like somewhat redeemed. I don't know that it was like a
he's-
full redemption.
He's a hero to me. I
He
love
is
Snape.
something.
Use your writing journal, like you said, to flesh out the
Yeah.
details of your plot twist. That's where you need to experiment with it.
Yeah.
Don't write yourself into a corner saying, I'm just going to write it, because if you haven't thought it through and strategized how it needs to go, you very well could write yourself into a corner and then you're stuck and you don't know how to get out of it. But
Right.
then go listen to our episode on writer's block and we'll help you.
Yeah.
Or you can use a plot twist worksheet. You know how I love to find these worksheet things online. I've got one. I'll post a link on our website, but I found it on www.edeverell.com, EADEVERELL.com.
Nice.
And it was 2 pages. And the worksheet said you go through each of your plot points. So your plot point is, I assume blank who does blank what at blank where by blank how with whom because why. And then you take each of those fill in the blank things and say, okay, But what if one of those isn't what it seems? It's the opposite, or someone is lying, or there's vital information being withheld. So that's one way to get down into the down and dirty of how to write a plot twist. You start with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
Because I think it's so hard to break down your own story and be like, well, how can I twist this? Like, where am I going to twist it? Like, how am I going to do that? And
Mhm.
having a way to just look at, a prompt or a template or whatever and be like, oh, I can see now how I could create this plot twist in my story.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. So I'll post the link.
Definitely.
So yeah, that was there are more than just that worksheet too. So just go on Google and search. I'm sure Etsy has a bunch.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
they've got tons of worksheets for plot twists and
Yeah.
how to flesh them out and, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The last tip that I have is to use beta readers to test your twists.
Oh, good point.
They're going to be a great resource for, determining whether or not you are successful in creating a plot twist and whether or not they saw it coming, if there are any plot holes with it, that kind of thing.
If it was
So.
so obvious that it bored them, or if it wasn't obvious enough and they're like, how did that happen? Yeah.
Right.
Good
right.
idea. Very good
Exactly.
idea.
Yeah.
And I have 25 plot twist ideas, but I don't have them in front of me. So I have to go into the other room and get them.
Wow.
So
okay.
I'm going to have to put a little thing in here.
You sure will.
I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back.
Okie dokie.
So Writer's Digest, which is always a wonderful resource for many, many different things, has 25 plot twist ideas and prompts for writers. And there's more than what I'm going to tell you. You click on each one of these things and it takes you deeper into that story. So go check out the Writer's Digest thing. I'll try to post this on the website too. The old acquaintance. You have an old acquaintance emerge from the character's past. That can create a plot twist. The unknown fear. The character reveals a previous unknown fear or phobia, which then makes certain parts of the current story have a different feel to it.
Right, right.
The antagonist gain. Oh, so the story's antagonist receives a new benefit. It makes me think of D&D. He gets a new spell. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Something new to fight our protagonist with.
Right.
An unexpected action. A character does something completely unexpected. But if you do that, you have to have a reason for it.
Right. Like make sure you have some background to go along with it.
Yeah. Weather breaks. The weather plays a role in the plot of the story, which a lot of the stories that your dad likes with the weather, those disaster movies that he likes so much. You like, even in The Walking Dead, what was the spinoff of The Walking Dead?
Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead. So in Fear the Walking Dead, they're dealing with zombies and other bad people and whatever. And then a tornado comes.
Yeah.
So the weather itself can be a plot twist. And
that's a good series.
It is. And it could change, like, think about it. The weather could come, your people and your characters have all, like in The Walking Dead, they've made themselves a community. Well, what if a tornado comes and tears it all up and they have to start over again?
Right.
Personal artifact. The character finds an object from their past.
Oh, cool.
Animal cameo. An animal makes an appearance in the story. These are all ideas to hopefully spark, how could this work in your particular book?
Right. What kind of plot twist could you have in your story?
Yeah. Missing item. An item or a person goes missing, which is a great way to add tension. I don't have time to deal with this because I've got this major conflict going on, but so-and-so's missing. The kid's gone missing, whatever.
Yeah, right.
And I've got to find the kid, but I have to do this or we're all going to die. So it can increase tension too. An uncharacteristic character, a character that starts acting out of character. True feelings. Someone admits their true feelings about something or someone. Tell a tale. A character tells a story within a story.
Okay.
Blocked passage. block a passage for your characters, which to me sounds like a rock. I don't know if that's what they meant or not.
Yeah, that's a interesting one.
New person, insert a new person and see what happens. But again, you need to have a reason for why that new person just shows up in the middle of the story.
Right, right.
Something breaks, whether it's an antique or technology, break something. Authority figure, introduce an authority figure to the story, which that would be a great twist where, you know, everybody's going along merrily doing their thing. And all of a sudden there's a new sheriff in town who says, that's not how we're going to do it anymore.
Oh, fair enough. That happens a lot, I feel like, in like small town murder mysteries where they're like, okay, you got the small town detective and like, well, we're going to bring in the county detective and
The FBI is coming in who's going to.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the FBI doesn't know all the people and all the little intricacies of what's going on in the small town.
Yeah, exactly.
An unintended message. A character stumbles across an unintended message, which I can see that working. You can do that as a red herring. I mean, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Sudden death, whether nefarious or natural causes, kill someone.
Wow. It's just rude.
Stuck together. Bring two characters together, whether they like it or not. That is another fun to me with my humor that I like
That's
to do.
a fun one.
That is a fun one. New power, reveal a new power for one of your characters.
Cool.
Which can create all kinds of problems. You know, what if it's not your main character that gets it and he's always been seen as the hero, and now this secondary character has this very powerful power and everybody's giving him all the attention, and that's going to make your character feel a certain way. So have a divine act, something unexpected and uncontrollable happen.
Nice.
Release the monster. Release the Kraken, the hounds, or the toddlers.
That sounds like the toddlers. That does sound like a good one though. Those are always like, oh no, like it got out like the T-Rex and Jurassic Park, or the Velociraptors or whatever. You know, that's a good one.
Fall ill. Have a character get sick. A new hurdle. Throw a new hurdle in front of your protagonist. Well, that's a rock.
Yeah.
Fight or flight. It's time to fight, whether with words, fists, or food. This writer is funny. I don't have the name of, well, let's see. Robert Lee Brewer wrote this.
Nice. Cool.
Without a trace. Have a character leave without a trace, which that's a really good one.
Yeah.
And on Thursday, supposedly they have plot twist story prompts. So this is a great place to go if you're struggling to do something with your novel and you feel stuck. Just go read some.
Yeah.
Go look at some of these prompts. Do some writing. Use your writer's journal to flesh some of those out and see where it takes you.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. I like to freehand scenes to get an idea from my characters and who they are. I think it'd also be a good idea for you just figuring out where a plot might go. I think freehanding would be very useful.
I think so too. And that's all I've got.
Well, nice. I've got an interview question for you.
Okay.
What's your favorite part about plot twists?
The surprise, being surprised.
Absolutely.
Not figuring it out.
Yeah. I think mine is the foreshadowing thing, like realizing, going back. Yeah.
You like the foreshadowing.
I do. So going back and realizing where all that foreshadowing is and not having seen it, I love that. I love just being like, oh my God, this is where it was. Karen Marie Moning was very good at that.
I was just about to say she is a master.
She crushed it with her Fever series. She's very good. And in ways that I didn't really expect. And it was amazing. So I love the subtle foreshadowing, the clues that get left behind.
And the cliffhangers that she did.
Oh, she was great at cliffhangers. Yeah.
Man. And the theories, her books spawned theories all over the internet. And you and I were reading them at the same time because we were waiting for each book to come out as she wrote them. And so one would end and we'd be going, oh my God, but do you think this means this or this means this? Well, let's go see what everybody else thinks. And everybody else is like, oh, this, and this. And we're like, oh, maybe. Awesome. She was amazing at that. That
was super good. And she left all kinds of clues for various things. And it was just incredible. I need to reread the whole series now that the last one is out.
Hmm.
But that's going to be an undertaking. So I haven't started on that yet.
That's me with Patricia Briggs. I really want to reread the whole series. There's 3 books that I haven't read yet, and it's
Yeah.
because I really need to start over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
I hear you. Well, I also have a sentence challenge for those of you who are interested in doing it. So typically, what I do is I take a sentence given to me by friends or family or whatever, and I write a page using that sentence. So this week's is, and it all took you know what? If I could give it to you correctly, this week's sentence is, and it all took a sharp left turn.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you all for listening. Come check us out on our website, which is eatdrinkrightpodcast.com. Come support us on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/EDW. We appreciate our sponsors. Thank you guys very much. I love Deanna and Jen. I can't wait to read Deanna's books. She, I
yeah.
don't know if you saw her comment today from last week's
Oh no, I haven't
thing,
yet.
and I can't wait to read her books.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah. So thank you guys for the support. It does take time and effort
It's awesome. It's
to
amazing.
do this. Yeah. So thank you for helping us out. Our social media links are all on our website. So come do that. I've kind of fallen down on the job of posting things on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, but I'll get back to it at some point.
Yeah.
So thank you all for listening.
Wonderful. Thanks, guys.